Welcome to the third part in this video series on working with Aquro's user service. In this video, we'll implement a password reset routine for in-app users and continue working on the app we've been working on throughout this series so far. If you haven't seen parts 1 and 2 yet, I recommend you go and check them out now so you aren't lost, and if you're watching on YouTube, we'll link them below as always. Before we actually begin working with building the password reset feature, let's talk quickly about how this service actually works in Aquro. The process itself is quite simple. We tell the service the user has forgotten his or her password and that a password reset process needs to be initiated. The service then sends an email to the user containing a code, and the user can then enter their sent code in the app along with a new password. The reset service then will complete the process and change the password for the user. Having said that, let's begin by first activating the password reset service. Open the backend services folder, click on password reset, and then activate the service by clicking activate. Now I can configure the service with a few different settings. First, we can select which email template will be used to send the email out to the user. When we activated the service, one template was automatically generated, so let's just use this one. Second, I can configure the complexity of the code that will be sent to the user. I can stick with the 4-digit code for now. Before starting to implement this process, let's have a quick look at the email template used by the service. I'll find this template under the email service folder. As you can see, it's a simple template telling the user they've received a reset code. We can configure this template as we like, but for this demo, I'm going to leave it as is. Now, let's start implementing this service by adding 2 pages to our app. One called Password Reset Start and one called Password Reset Finish. I'll use the blank template for both pages. Then, let's open the Password Reset Start page and just add an input box for email and a button. Now edit the visual coding script for the button and use the Cloud Password Reset Start coding block. For the username, I'll set the value of the text box. We should also save an error message to a local variable for later use if the password reset service returns an error. Now, add the page load block and load the password reset finish page when the password reset service has finished successfully. We could now pass the email address to the next page, as we'll need to use the email address when we're performing the actual password reset. Finally, we could show the user an error message in the message box if an error occurred while calling the password reset service. With that done, let's close all of our visual coding windows and save the page. Now, jump over to the password reset finish page and add 2 text boxes, one for the password reset code and one for the new password. Finally, add a button. I'll edit the script for the button's click event and use the Cloud Password Reset Finish coding block. As we pass the email address along with the page load call on the previous page, we can use the value of the passed ID and set it to the username property. Next, we just map in the code and the password fields. Once again, store the error message into a variable. If the password reset was successful, we can now sign in the user automatically with the email and the new password by using the Cloud Auth Login coding block. And then, we'll load the home page. Finally, we should show the error message to the user if the service has failed. Now, before we can begin to try out this functionality, let's head over to the sign in page and add a button that will take the user to the password reset start page. When that's done, let's go ahead and try out our functionality. I'll click on the Forgot Password button, fill in my email, and now I just have to wait and check my email for the code. Once I receive the code, I'll enter the code and a new password, and then click on the Reset button. Yes, now that that's done, my password should be changed to a new one. It's just a fact of life that users are prone to forgetting their passwords, so implementing a password reset function in your app is crucial if you're going to have users signing up and logging in. We've now completed this video series on how to implement a basic user authentication system inside your app using the user service in Aquro.